It's a pleasure meeting you once again. And today, once again, we're here for our question, that's human growth and development. Having seen previously some things that you had covered in human growth and development, for today we are going to see the personality development. The personality development, it was majorly initiated by Freud Sigmund. Sigmund, I remember I had given you some work about him, and let us try to look at him. Sigmund Freud intensively studied personality development. That majorly for him studied about personality development. Under this, he first used hypnosis as a method. He used various methods, as you're going to see, that they had majorly used 3 methods in studying personality development. First of all, he used a method called hypnosis. Hypnosis, it's all about critical thinking, whereby he sat down and critically thought about the development of people, but through observing them. He later also used free association, and free association majorly it involves whereby you interact with a person, and this person expresses whichever thing he or she feels in his or her life. Finally, he used introspection, and introspection majorly talks about thinking through his thoughts and basing on what someone is telling you. You think through your thoughts, but when someone is talking, you analyze what he or she is talking. So those are the methods that Sigmund used in analyzing and studying the personality, the human personality. According to him, Freud found out that personality development is based on 2 principles. He discovered that personality development is based on 2 principles, i.e., that's a physical determination and unconscious motivation. The physical determination is a tendency that mental activities are caused by events. Under this, we shall see that he stresses the point that mental activities, that most of the things that we do, which are in our brains, they are caused by the events that we pass through. I remember we had seen this before, that for every activity that is in your brain, it is based on what you have been experiencing. It is based on what you have been going through for all along. So this is the physical determination. That majorly this one looks at what you have been going through. That is the physical determination. Then he later on went on and said that, and talked about the unconscious motivation. The unconscious motivation, this is being completely unaware of processes which guide our lives. That we shall see that under this, there are processes, but however, we are not that process that we go through in our lives, but we are not aware that they take place. And under this, because there are some things that happen in our lives and you're totally unaware, you don't have control over them. So this is the unconscious motivation. For instance, you have fallen sick, you have fainted, you have been taken to hospital, you don't know where you are. Then after some minutes or after some hours, you are being told that you are now in hospital. Sometimes you have got an accident, sometimes you have fallen sick, so you are unconscious that things have happened in your life, but you're not conscious of them. They put you in a border, they take you through a taxi, but you're not aware. The first one, we are aware. Then the second one, we are not aware. However, he concluded that this motivation hangs upon energy forces. However, here there are some mistakes. He emphasized and stressed that motivation majorly rotates on 2 principles. There is eros and what we call thanatos. Though here thanatos is not there, but eros is all about how we can multiply life. Then eros is all about how life comes about. Then thanatos, it talks about of how death comes about, how things that lead to death. Then eros, how do we come into life? For instance, one can have sex with somebody, they produce a child. These people have brought life to a person. Then death, somebody can, you have got problems, you are stressed, then at the end of the day, you might end up taking poison. Some of the people, they hang themselves, and they die. So that is thanatos. So that sometimes these are unconscious, sometimes they are not conscious of them. according to Freud, personality development comprises of three physical structures, i.e., that is ID, ego, and superego. Shall remember that we had seen these three. We had initially seen these personalities in the initial work that was about a certain psychology. Then under this we shall see that ID, according to Sigmund, that ID is unconscious, irrational, selfish, and uncompromising. It represents the biological and unconscious drive. It operates on the pleasure principle. We shall see that the ID is something that forces you to do something, right? As we had seen it earlier, that this one, it forces you to do something. But however, that it forces you to do something that you can do it, you go and do on. That you shall say that this one, it operates on principle, pleasure, that it forces you, it's all about satisfying one's needs, that you can do this, you can go in for it. Then the ego is rational. It is patient and assesses the consequences of the idea and controls them. It begins from the age of 2 to 3 years. It heavily acts on reality principle. That the ego, this one, it's something that tells that think twice. Are you able to do it? Fine, you want to go for work that is raining, but do you think that you reach at work in time? Won't you find floods? Won't you find accidents? So this is something that makes you think twice before you go in for any action. Then the superego represents the conscious mind. It is a conscious of what is right or wrong and begins to appear from the age of 7. It represents the moral principle. Any balance between three forces leads to conflict in behavior. That the superego majorly, for it, as we had seen it earlier, that this one, it appreciates what you have done. It majorly appreciates, because you have seen that the ID tells you to do it. Then the ego, it tells you to think twice. Then after the ego, this is when you are able to implement. This is when you are able to put into action what you have decided. Then the superego, at times, this one appreciates what you have done. It appreciates what, or at times it doesn't appreciate what you have done. So according to this, that if there is imbalance of these, or if there is imbalance of these three principles, sometimes it leads to conflict in behavior. So in most cases you have to balance whenever, because you all have this ID, ego, and superego. So it's better for us to balance them in all the things that we happen to do in our daily lives. Then we shall continue. We shall continue whereby under this it says that according to Freud, there are 4 personalities. That for him, according to Freud, there are 4 personalities. The first personality is he is melancholic. I.e., this when the person is always depressed. You shall find that there are people that for them in their day-to-day behaviors, the way they conduct themselves, that these people are always depressed. That they are kinds of people who are always depressed in their daily lives. Let it be a Monday, let it be a Sunday. In their daily lives, for them they are always depressed, but they are depressed because of various reasons. They are depressed because of what they have gone through. They are depressed because of the situations they have initially experienced. Then we shall go in for the second person, that is a Saguin. The Saguin, that is a person who is always cheerful. They are these characters of people that for them they are always cheerful, they are always happy. They are always happy, they always have morale. Then we shall have the phlegmatic. The phlegmatic is a person who is always unemotional. These people are always having emotions. They are not always stable. They are up and down, right? They are always emotional. Then we shall see the fourth category of persons in the daily lives. We shall see that they are those who are choleric. These are irritable. The irritable in most cases, at times they tend to criticize. They tend to criticize what they are not appreciative of what they have gone through. They are always regretting of what they have that they always experience in their day-to-day lives. So majorly, according to Freud, those are the 4 characteristics